Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to look at John chapter 20, verses 11 through 18. Now, this follows right after what I talked about in the previous video, which is when Mary Magdalene discovered the empty tomb, and then the beloved disciple and Peter went to check out the empty tomb. Well, at this point, the beloved disciple and Peter have gone back home, but Mary is still there at the tomb. Now, remember, Mary thinks that someone came and stole Jesus' body. All she knows for sure is that she found the tomb empty and the body's not there. She made an assumption that somebody came and took the body. She jumped to that conclusion. Of course, that's not what happened, but that's what she thinks happened. Well, she turns around and she sees a couple of angels there at the tomb. They ask her why she's weeping, and she tells them someone came and stole Jesus' body. Of course, the angels know that's not true. Mary then turns around and sees this unknown figure standing there. She assumes that this is the gardener, the caretaker. And she says, "Sir, if you're the one who moved his body, please tell me where you put it so that I can take care of it." The gardener, so to speak, is Jesus. But Mary doesn't recognize him. We see this happen quite a few times in post-resurrection stories, that people don't recognize the risen Christ right away. Why? Well, maybe part of it is simply their grief. When you're grieving, when your emotions are that strong, you're not always thinking clearly, right? Mary can't see Jesus in front of her because she's living with this story that somebody came and stole the body. This is the narrative that she's telling herself. This is how she's trying to make sense of what she's seen. We do this too. When there's something in your life that doesn't make sense to you, you then try to make sense of it. You come up with some story or some explanation, or you jump to some kind of conclusion to try to make sense of this thing that doesn't make sense. This is what Mary's doing here, okay? Mary thinks that this person in front of her is the gardener, that he took Jesus' body, and now she wants to take care of it. Then this gardener simply says, "Mary." He says her name. And in that moment, Mary recognizes that this is Jesus. Hearing her name opened her eyes. She had heard Jesus say her name before, and now when this gardener person said her name, then it all came back to her. Also, it changed her story. The story that she had been living by was that somebody had came and stolen the body. Now, she rushes back to the disciples and says, "I have seen the Lord." Her story changes because of this encounter with the risen Christ. In our lives, our story changes because of an encounter with the risen Christ. For example, think about your past. Maybe you made a lot of mistakes. Maybe there's all kinds of secrets that you're trying to keep secret. Maybe you just don't think of yourself as the best person. But then you heard the good news. You heard Jesus say your name, so to speak. Now, that's not to say that Mary made poor choices or whatnot in her past. What it is to say is that Jesus changes all of us, okay? When you hear him say your name, and you see that he is risen, that he is right there in front of you, and that he is right there with you, then that changes everything. Then you can rush out to others and say, I have seen the Lord. You had this moment when it just became crystal clear to you that Jesus is still with you. Even in your grief and your sadness and your emotions that were clouding your better judgment, you saw that Jesus was there with you. This is what happened for Mary. It was good news for her, and it's good news for us. There's your 5-minute Bible study. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.